Hello, Outposters. Let's see what's going on here. Oh, I got the thing in the wrong place. Let's see. Let's get myself in there. That's better. Now you can see me, kind of. Of course, the control room background is way too big, so we'll fix that real quick. I've obviously had some problems with this new streaming software, but getting better. I'm getting better, getting there. So. Welcome to a live stream. I think this might be our first live stream in 2021. And after today, we can honestly say that it's starting out like gangbusters, like it normally does. So, with me today, I have our newest resident writer, Sean. How you doing, Sean?
Good, thank you.
Welcome to this. Is your first live stream, is it not?
It is, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm glad to have you here. I think you've done some great work. I like your. When's part two of the action movie buddy comedies coming out?
The buddy, you mean the action movies, the '80s action movies?
Yeah, the '80s action movies.
I don't know. I've been kind of frantically doing multiple things at the same time right now, so I haven't really put too much thought into it. I have it all. I have the movies set up, but I need to write all the stuff about them and whatnot first. So I'm trying to at least put them a week apart from each other.
It is the most painful part is trying to write all that stuff out. So let's we wanted to talk about, so you and I both saw a movie recently that we're going to talk about. I thought before we get started I would just kind of go over the news. So I will go over it. I'll just get your reaction. I don't have you set up in a two-shot. I need to do that, but I'm still working on this new OBS, so I'm not going to show the actual, or I might go back and forth a little bit, but Ghostbusters Afterlife made Ivan Reitman cry. I'm kind of like, okay, he might be biased.
Yeah. Yeah, that was my initial reaction to it too. It was like, well, of course he's going to be biased towards it.
I mean, I think this is, look, I'm not dragging him. It's his son. His son made a Ghostbusters movie, and I'm sure I've seen Jason Reitman's other stuff. I'm sure it was competently made and was well done and probably honored the original one. I'm sure all of that. But, I mean, I don't know that this necessarily reflects on the quality of the movie.
No, yeah. I'm a cynical person. I'm completely fine with no more Ghostbusters. Leave it alone. When I first saw the trailer, I was like, all right, I got a little goosebumps from it, but I don't have high hopes for it. This and hearing this didn't really make me feel any better about it, or worse, to be fair.
Yeah, it's got to be better in 2016, though, right?
I mean, I have not seen 2016's, and I never will.
Oh, don't.
As far as I plan to, but I've seen a lot of videos, a lot of breaking it down, dissecting it and stuff like that.
I did one. It's on the channel. Just give me a moment to pimp out the channel here. I did the Ghostbusters 2016 on the channel. Ripped it to shreds. So if you haven't watched that, ladies and gentlemen, feel free, please. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, yeah. I mean, I think I've seen enough of what it is to have at least some opinion on what it is, and yeah, I can't imagine this one's gonna be worse than that at all. So I'm not worried about it.
No, it can't be worse than that. I don't think. I mean, I suppose it's possible to be worse than that, but I'm trying to understand how.
Yeah, I mean, yes, it could always be worse. I mean, you look at 2016's Ghostbusters. You think it can't be worse than 2, and then it was much worse than 2.
Now, did you see? I'm gonna transition here for a second. Did you see the Obi-Wan set? And I've got it up here for our viewers to look at. But
No.
this huge town that they put out in where did they put it? In the English village of Little Marlow in Buckinghamshire. And they've built it kind of out in a field, a little bit next to a body of water. And then they've also built some temporary buildings to, for cooks and that sort of stuff. It looks like it's pretty far away from anything else. And I guess some local resident is not happy with it. And of course, the Sun wrote about it, that a journalist has put a tabloid embellishment on the quote is, "This is a massive production and a hugely lucrative franchise, but obviously not everyone locally is pleased to see Disney moving in. It might generate some jobs, but this is a pretty rural area, which has always been quiet and peaceful. The thought of turning it into some sort of intergalactic war zone to make a TV show is horrifying." Is it? Is it really?
Yeah. That sounds a little dramatic to me.
Yeah, I get the feeling that they found the one, get off my lawn person in the town.
And
The rest of them are like, fucking A, we need all the work we can get. We've been locked in our homes.
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of interesting.
I mean, it may last maybe, I don't know how long the show will last, but I imagine Ewan McGregor wouldn't do more than 2-3 seasons.
Maybe, I haven't heard about this at all, so this is all really new to me. So
don't you read your own site? God damn it!
I do when I can. Yes.
What this is the site you actually write for? Okay.
I try to read as much as possible.
Okay.
I actually need to get used to reading on a website again.
This is my go-to, man. I'll tell you. To be fair. Between McLeod and Stark, they run through the carousel, the front page. They loop that thing around every damn day, and so if you miss a day, you're missing some shit. But yeah, they're going to start filming in March, and it's supposed to start in early 2022 on Disney Plus. But I mean, it's neat looking. It looks bigger than what do you call it? Galaxy's Edge over at Disneyland. It's that big, and I'm impressed. And I'm like going, are you really that upset about it?
This person seems like they have a problem with Disney in general, seeing that they named them oh, we got Disney coming in here. This sounds like someone that's fucking Disney with all their money coming in here, doing stuff.
Yeah, making loud noises. I can't walk my little Yorkie out there without her pissing her pants, and because of all the explosions. Very upset about this. Here's your check. Oh, I'm not so upset anymore.
Yeah.
Okay. Frank Drebin is to return. They're going to do a Naked Gun, and they're going to cast Liam Neeson, I believe, in the Drebin role. And it's going to be... Who's doing this? Is this yeah, it's Seth MacFarlane's involved. I do not have high hopes for this.
This sounds really bad. Yeah. Who's playing?
Liam Neeson.
I don't see it. I mean, to be fair, what's his name now? Christ.
Leslie Nielsen.
I believe he was a dramatic actor before. Yeah, so
it was Airplane that made him a comedy guy.
Okay, yeah. So, I remember he was on. What was that horror movie anthology?
Oh, I'm not sure about that. I have to look it up. I know he was the guy in Forbidden Planet, which is really good. But yeah, I saw A Million Ways to Die in the West, and I am not at all hopeful and it's not that Neeson. I think Neeson can do comedy. I don't think that's the problem.
Yeah.
I think it's Seth MacFarlane. I don't know. I mean,
That's the worst part is having him attached to it.
Yeah, I mean, Ted was like funny the first time and got real old and has no rewatchability.
Yeah.
So I just, I'm not happy about that. I'm even less happy about the idea of a Galaxy Quest sequel.
Yeah, like what's like? I mean, we people have said for years now that Hollywood's out of ideas. Like, but this is like what are you doing? Like I like Galaxy Quest. I'm not a big Star Trek fan. I understand where people are like, yeah, this is a good kind of Star Trek-esque comedy. But yeah, like, why are you bothering with a sequel to something like this? Like, did somebody ask for it?
Well, they've kind of talked about it. Galaxy Quest is weird. It made money, and I remember it coming out, and I liked it very much at the time. I bought the DVD when it came out. It was a movie that I always liked, and then I guess it somehow became. It's like a successful film that became a cult film. I don't know how that works, but that's exactly what happened. I watched, or at least I watched some of the Never Surrender Galaxy Quest documentary. And I commented on the stories, like, if you're going to you want to make a sequel to Galaxy Quest, give up Surrender. We don't need it. First of all, without Alan Rickman, you really can't do it, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, I forgot about him being in that too.
And second of all, everybody's gotten old. I don't know. I don't want. It was a great movie for what it is, but I just don't want to do it.
It's like a parody of itself, like, because you think about it, Galaxy Quest is about a bunch of actors, TV actors, who were in this hit sci-fi TV show, and then it takes place like all these years later when they're all old and no one cares about them anymore. And they're literally going to do that with all the actors being old and nobody cares about them anymore.
Yeah, it was a great idea, and it is a very good movie, and it somehow makes it could be just a complete farce, but instead they managed to capture the tone of an actual serious moments, and it works. It somehow works. Yeah. It really has no business working, and yet it does. And that is a textbook definition of lightning in a bottle for me, and that's why you really don't want to do it again.
Yeah, I don't see where anything good can come of this. Like, it's, I mean, like, especially like, I think your main focus is going to be Star Trek fans, and that scares me because look where Star Trek is now with like Discovery. And
Star Trek is a parody now. Picard is a gay robot now. I mean, how is this not a parody?
I mean, that's the only thing, now that I think about it, that's the only way that I can see this at all working, is if somehow they like maybe make fun of what Star Trek has become. They use that kind of stuff to make fun of it.
Galaxy Quest has become woke nonsense, and they have to go back to space to get, because the aliens take them back to space and say the historical documents were really upset about what's going on here. What's happened to you guys? So here's something I'm actually looking forward to, so we can talk about something positive. Janitor Nick Cage takes out the trash in the Willy's Wonderland trailer. And what I understand is, if you're familiar with something like Five Nights at Freddy's.
Yeah, I've played a little bit of it.
Yeah, it's basically animatronics coming alive and trying to kill Nick Cage. If there was ever the perfect marriage between actor and schlock, this has got to be it. I mean, this is Con Air levels of brilliance, in my opinion. And I'm not bullshitting. I am all in on this. I am good to go.
I haven't watched the trailer yet, but yeah, I mean, when I first heard about this movie, like not long ago, like maybe a month ago, I was like, yeah, like of course, like yeah, Nick Cage is perfect for something like this.
Yeah. This is the kind of thing that I'm gonna go. I've got to see this. Nick Cage is going to be smashing up evil animatronics at Showbiz Pizza. I'm in.
Yeah,
I'm totally in. So, it just doesn't get better than that. That is Nick Cage. I couldn't think of a more perfect actor to stick in there than Nick Cage.
yeah, really.
So the Justice League, originally it was supposed to come out as 4 1-hour episodes, and now it's coming out as a 4-hour movie all in one shot. I mean, look, it is what it is. I don't really care. I'm going to watch it because for this site, it's really become my job. But to me, what's funny about it is that Warner is so messed up with their DCEU properties, they can't even figure out how to put out a director's cut of a movie. They don't. Well, it'll be a TV show. I mean, it'll be a movie. It'll be one show. We don't know. They have no idea what the hell they can't even get that right. I mean, that seems like a very simple thing. Are you going to release it in 1 part or 4 parts?
Well,
we don't know.
Aren't they like shooting stuff, like new stuff? Like I heard, like Martian Manhunter is now going to be in it. That I assume they have to actually shoot for.
Who
like,
cares?
how's that a director's cut when like 2 years later you're like, all right, we're going to film more stuff? Like,
I think that he's making up new shit to put in it because they basically gave him a blank check and said, do whatever the hell you want. And
he's like George Lucas 2.0.
Oh, him and Pete Jackson. That's what I'm waiting for next. Because Peter Jackson, he did his magnum opus, which was The Lord of the Rings, and then he goes back and does his prequels, which was The Hobbit. And those are terrible. And now he's going back and he's going to redo The Lord of the Rings to look more like today's films or something. I don't know. I'm like, this is special editioning it. Stop it. Stop it, you guys. Stop messing with stuff.
I don't understand that. Like, to go back to Ghostbusters, it's like, all right, I get it, like Dan Aykroyd, he's nostalgic for that stuff. So of course, he was trying really hard to make a third Ghostbusters, to relive that feeling and stuff like that. But like, this is even worse. Like, dude, special edition type stuff. To me, the Lord of the Rings trilogy is the best trilogy in movies at all. Like, it has a great arc across all 3 movies and everything. It's a great continuous story. The acting, all of it's really this is perfect. The Hobbit movies are like the Star Wars prequels. You had high hopes for them, but then they suck. They're not good. And now, this idea of like going back and tweaking the Lord, like, just leave it alone. Leave perfection alone. Don't screw with it.
No, I don't disagree, and I don't understand. I got you on the Chrome now. I can share you with the website. So, I don't understand I don't understand what Warner's doing with DC. They are so lucky that they have all the properties under their control. They don't have to worry about it. And Marvel did. Marvel couldn't get everybody under their control, and it's taken them a while to get everything kind of worked out. And yet they did a much better job of creating a universe, and Warner couldn't get their universe going without completely screwing it up. And I mean, to a certain extent, I blame Zack Snyder because the start of it is just terrible. And that's where I'm like, everybody's going, they can't wait for the director's cut of Justice League. I'm like going, did you see Man of Steel? Did you see Batman v Superman? What makes you believe that these are going to be this is going to be amazing? Yes, I agree that Justice League was terrible, but I don't see that this is going to be better. It's going to be more, but it's not going to be better.
Well, that's the same thing like with Batman vs Superman. Like people like I didn't care to watch the special edition or whatever to that movie, but then everyone was like, "Well, you got to watch it. Like it's better, you know, like it's better than the one that was in the movies."
It is.
I didn't think it was. I just thought it was longer. It's like it's still boring. It's
I said it is better. That's like saying, you know, 3-day shit is better than 5-day shit. You know what I'm saying? It's not. Yeah. That doesn't mean it's good. I'm saying it's better than what came before. You know, it's better to get beaten with a switch than a baseball bat. I'd rather not get beaten at all. But
that's fair.
Unfortunately, I'm going to get beaten for 4 hours.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like, no, I may be in the minority here, but I think Man of Steel is the best Superman movie there is.
You are in the minority, and that movie.
Come at me, bros. I really like it. Like,
I fell asleep at the end of that movie. I swear to God, I did.
There's issues with it, but like comparing it to like Marvel movies, it's not. It doesn't hold up to a lot of their best stuff. But I compared it mostly to the old Superman movies where they have not aged well at all. Now, do I think they could have got someone better than Zack Snyder to do Man of Steel? Yes. I think he was great for The Watchmen. I think that was right up his alley. Dark, gritty kind of stuff like that. I think he did a great job with that. Superman's not that. You know, Superman's it's more lighthearted, like Shazam. What they did with Shazam.
Shazam was a better Superman movie than Man of Steel.
I mean, it's good. I like
Superman. Look, I love now. You know, obviously, I have a few years on you, but the original Superman movie I saw when I was a kid, and when it came out, when it was new.
Yeah.
And while I agree that effects wise and some of the comedy and some of the other stuff is not good, they also laid Superman. Okay, let me back up here. The thing with the Superman movies is much like the Superman shows and comics and that sort of thing. If you read those older comics or you watch those older shows, they are some of them are unbearable. They really are.
Yeah.
But they also laid the groundwork very well. Things like Kryptonite came about in the original show. The you know, Clark Kent and Superman, you know, that he came from a dying planet and all that kind of stuff. And some of the ideas for his powers and I think Superman the movie laid some interesting ideas for, you know, like the crystal for the Fortress of Solitude, and I also think that Christopher Reeve did one of the most fantastic jobs of being Superman and being the ideal version of that hero. And so while there is a lot of cheesy BS in it, and I don't disagree with that, he's what I think Superman should be, which is Superman's greatest gift is his ability to know right from wrong. And his greatest weakness is his inability to understand what an inspiration he is. And so I think Reeve nailed all that really, really well. Yeah. And Man of Steel is just trying to be Wolverine with a cape in a lot of ways. I mean, he doesn't, you know, he's dark, he's brutal, or maybe Batman, I guess you could say. But either way, he's not acting like Superman, and he's willing to do horrible things to people in revenge and things like that. And that Superman understood that he had to stay, you know, he had to hold himself in because he was so powerful.
Right.
That he was very humble in the face of his power, and that I don't think that really came across in Man of Steel, especially with all the destruction and everything.
Well, I think they tried to. I you know, like well, they could, you know, the destruction stuff that happened at the end of the movie. Like, there's one point in the movie there that I defend that, because the one military guy says something like, "We need to evacuate everyone," or something along those lines. It's been a while since I watched it, so like I don't remember exactly how it's said or done. But like he throws a line out there, and I'm like, you know, people bitch about that in Man of Steel, but then it's like you look at Avengers, who at the time, Joss Whedon was talking shit about Man of Steel, where he's like, well, it's because of how poorly they handled the end of that is how I decided to handle the end of Age of Ultron, where they were like, we got to get everyone out of here. And it's like, you had Iron Man show up in New York while all these aliens were pouring out of the sky, and he just goes and has a chit chat with Loki. Like, at least in Man of Steel, there was a throwaway line of, we got to evacuate people, where Iron Man didn't give a shit to do that. He just wanted to go talk to Loki, and it's like come on, like he should have went to the police or something, you know.
Well, first of all, the aliens weren't coming out when he went and talked to Loki yet. And
well, no, they were about to, but he knew they were going to. Like, he knew what was going to happen. He was like, you know, like, he didn't go like to police stations or anything like that. Or
I think he was trying to work him to work. I mean, I get what you're saying, but I think he was trying to work him over. In the meantime, Captain America was doing that. Captain America was the guy trying to save people and work it out.
Right. But like, by
Captain
then,
America acted more like Superman than Superman did.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, and like I said, you know, like, yeah, like I think there are situations in Man of Steel that, like, I think, you know, like him trying to learn, like when he first, you know, he can see through everybody and stuff like that. I thought that was a nice touch of showing that stuff that they never did with the other Superman movies, you know, where he had to learn it. The conversation that he has with his dad, you know, and he's like, well, you know, like, I got to try saving him and stuff, you know, or whatever. And his dad's like, well, maybe you don't have to. And it's like, what are you doing?
Yeah,
like,
that blew me away. I'm sorry, but his dad telling him, "Don't save anybody. Let him die. Let the school bus full of children drown horribly."
Yeah. Like, no, that's not right. Like,
that's not right.
I can understand maybe his dad. There's ways to show his dad being scared of people finding out about him, but that's not the way to do it.
No,
not be like, nah, you let the kids die. Like, yeah, that was crazy.
I had a problem with all that. So I don't know. I don't like the way Zack Snyder did the DC, how he set it up. I loved Shazam.
Yeah, Shazam was good. I liked it.
That's the only one I could say I truly loved. Wonder Woman's, the original Wonder Woman was fine up until the end. I think I don't understand why everybody loves Aquaman. I mean, it wasn't nearly as bad as Zack Snyder stuff, but it was so predictable, and it was very by the numbers. I don't know why that made so much money, but you know, it's not terrible. It's just I just didn't get it, and I mean, then everything else is garbage.
Yeah, like I for the most part don't like the DC universe that they got going on. I don't like Aquaman. I think the action was really cool, but that's it. I don't like the way that they constantly kept repeating of, hey, they show up someplace and they talk about something, and then the explosion or something happens, and now we're into a fight scene, and then moving on from there. It's like, can we get some kind of transition where someone isn't in the middle of an explosion and somehow living through it? Like it got really repetitive with a lot of that stuff.
Yeah, and I knew everything that was going to happen. I mean, it was so badly telegraphed at the beginning that you knew these setups and payoffs. I mean, I don't know. I don't want to get into all that. I mean, we're just waiting for that train wreck to come in March, and we'll all have opinions on it. Speaking of opinions, how you like that segue? Isn't that nice? So you and I both watched Run, Hide, Fight. And you put the review up. You beat me to it, you bastard. you put it up there, Sean, and I would say that your review was generally positive.
Yeah.
Well, you gave it a 3.5 out of 5. I would have given it a 4. I would not have given it any higher than that. But overall, I really thought it was well done. And I guess what I was struggling with, and this I'll tell you mine, and then you tell me yours, and then we'll kind of do some back and forth here. I think the movie was well put together. I think the characters they knew what you set them up with their various issues. At least the girl for the most part, and you know maybe her friends, and then you throw them into this situation, and a lot of these things get paid off. There's a lot of moments where, you know, oh, this happens, and then she uses it later. I'm thinking specifically of sliding on the slick hallway that was being varnished or something. And then I
think it was a senior prank.
Yeah, you're right. It was probably a senior prank that she used all that to her advantage. That she's working through the death of her mother from cancer, and all of that kind of works into this. And you know, the character grew, and I was growing. I was right there with her, and I was engaged, and the action was decent. You know, and it was Die Hard in a school quite a bit. So then I have to think, okay, so my general reaction, my natural reaction, because you can't watch anything anymore and not be politicized by it, because they can't stop bringing politics into everything, is to kind of defend the movie because somebody else made it besides you know, typical Hollywood. And this isn't showing up on the screen very well, but the score on Rotten Tomatoes is 30%. Now there's only 10 reviews, so most people didn't even bother to review it. Or most of the main critics didn't even bother to review it. But those who did gave it a 32%. There's 2,127 audience ratings, which is a pretty reasonable number. And it's at 92%. So this is another example of the media, to me, and I went through this on Hillbilly Elegy a little bit too. The media being not just out of touch, but actively hating things because they were made by the wrong people who had the wrong voting and the wrong political beliefs. And I feel like, have we gone back to the 50s or something? Is it we just haven't learned anything? I mean, this is, I have to watch all these movies by, quite frankly, I mean, after the Me Too movement and Weinstein and the pedophile and all the other stuff, and you guys, I just have to watch these, and I got to separate the art from the people who made it, and you know, and we know that there's still horrible people in Hollywood still making these movies. But Ben Shapiro, the little Jewish guy who didn't have sex before marriage, he's the awful Hitler. I'm like going, well, okay, so I try to look at this movie like, is it a good movie or not? And then second, why can't a guy like Ben Shapiro produce a movie that's, why is it automatically bad because the wrong guy made it?
Yeah.
And that's my issue. So I don't know how you saw it, so I'd be interested in hearing your thoughts. I mean, I saw your review, but I'm just, you know, expand on that.
Right. I'm very good at separating art from artist. Now, I have been accused of not that. I've been accused of not being that because I'm kind of like, do I want to watch Bill Cosby stuff anymore now that I know that he's a rapist?
Yeah,
like,
it does taint. There is some things that are so egregious that it does taint the work.
Yeah, it's like I really like Rosemary's Baby, but knowing Roman Polanski raped a 13-year-old girl makes me kind of iffy about watching his stuff anymore.
Yeah.
But but then it's like, okay, but then you got Chris Evans. Chris Evans is this insufferable asshole leftist, but he was great as Captain America.
Yeah.
He did so well as Captain America.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm not gonna not watch him as Captain America, and I'm not gonna think that I'm not gonna now be like, oh, I hate him as Captain America because he says stupid shit about politics. You know. And the same.
I agree with you, by the way, 100%. So continue.
Yeah. But and now I like Ben Shapiro. I agree with him more times than not. I like Daily Wire for the most part, you know. But if you were to tell me CNN was to produce this movie, you know, and if Chris Cuomo or Fredo Cuomo would have been, you know, like the person leading the charge on CNN producing it, I still would have felt the same way about the movie. You know.
I think so too. I think it's reasonable to assume that the movie would not have turned out this way if somebody like Chris Cuomo had made it.
No.
See, that's the problem, isn't it? So, first of all, the female in it would have been able to pick up the males with one hand and shove the van out with just a little kick. And even though she weighs, even though she weighs 97 pounds, she would have been able to do all that. That's what I thought was so good about the movie in general is that, well, first of all, some of the things I'm seeing on here is that, like people are saying, it glorifies school shootings. What? What are you talking about? This is
that really bothers me with people. Like, anytime anything happens, and for whatever reason, whatever biases it is, or anything like that, when they're like it's like, no, it doesn't. You feel if you do not feel like you don't feel like it's a good thing happening when these kids like. I don't know how you feel about spoilers, but I don't think this is a spoiler. But like the one girl walks into the bathroom with her gut bleeding all over the place. You know, that's when the main character realizes something's up. But like that's horrifying to see. You know, like I mean, obviously it doesn't bother me because I know it's a movie. But like I'm not watching this like more of that, please. No, like it's.
I would say tonally, it's definitely darker, more visceral than say a Die Hard, even though it kind of
definitely
follows a lot of those kind of tropes. I wouldn't call it like, oh, this is a fun action movie like Die Hard. This is a rough action movie.
Yeah, it's gritty. I mean,
it is.
It's realistic too. You know, like it really. Like a lot of the things that happen in the movie, and like they've talked about this where they spent time in you know, like studying these kind of things at school shootings and stuff like that, and how the protocol goes and stuff like that. And they wanted to be able to mimic that as best they can to make it real. And, you know, I'm sure Die Hard didn't do that. You know, Die Hard wasn't like, all right, well, let's go check with people and see how do they handle it when someone, you know, a terrorist organization breaks into a giant Trump Tower type building, you know?
Well, I can't really, I mean, when I see these top critics who don't like the movie, and at least 3 or 4 of these say it's bad taste, it's tasteless, it's bad taste. It's like, weren't you guys just extolling the virtues of cuties not that long ago? Am I supposed to take you seriously now? I don't understand. I just the nonsense these people, this weird bubble world they live in. And overall, I mean, I thought the movie, like, I like how she figured things out. I like the you said that the one guy, what was his name? I can't remember his name, but the main bad guy in it.
I think it's Tristan
or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, something like that.
Tristan Voy, yes. He was interesting, but that the rest of them weren't. And I thought, I wasn't sure I agreed with you there, because the one guy had clearly had psychological problems.
Right.
And there was times he was yelling at phantoms, and they had to kind of rein him in, and he kind of like going, okay, I can get why he's a mess. And then the other guy, I thought it was interesting that he did all this because he got his pants pulled down in the 6th grade, and so he has this huge persecution complex that everybody's laughing at him all the time. And she just calls him out and says, oh, I guess everybody deserved a death sentence for that. You don't even know what half of these people don't even remember you or remember that. What are you talking about? And I'm kind of like going, okay. I found it interesting because it's like, yes, bad things happen to you when you're a kid that traumatize you. And when kids go through something like that, then yeah, it could set you down that kind of path where you just never reach out to anybody again and you just kind of retreat deeper and deeper into yourself. And then there's the other side of it, which I think is also correct, which is, what are you, a nut? This one stupid thing happened to you. Now you're killing people left and right,
Yeah.
And she really got through to him. She was the first person that ever reached out to him and talked to him like a human being and said, knock it off. Yeah. And he ended up turning on the guys, which I thought was interesting. And then the other thing I thought was really, and nothing in here was like really on the nose, which I liked. It wasn't like, just beating you over the head with something.
Yeah.
But there was one nice little subtle moment, or at least I thought it was subtle, where the cop is asking the press, hey, I need you to not show the building in your shot because people are going to come out, and he didn't want to tip the Tristan that people were coming out. And Tristan's watching the whole thing on TV because this is all about, well, we'll get to that. But the press guy was like, well, what am I supposed to, like, he didn't want to cooperate at all. It was just about him getting the shot and doing the news story. And I thought that was pretty good because I mean, other than I think they actually could have been more in the nose on it because I think the press has even less scruples than that guy does. So I appreciated that kind of thing. I would say that I'm not quite clear on what Tristan's ultimate motivation was. I don't know if it was he's just a nihilist, if he wanted to be famous. He clearly had an exit strategy. But if he had an exit strategy, I don't know where he thought he was going to go and not be recognized because he was on the streaming the whole time.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if he really cared that much about being famous or if it was just being memorable. I was a little unclear on that. I don't know. What, maybe you saw something I didn't.
I mean, I felt like, there was no real... I don't think there was ever a time that he said, this is why we're doing this.
Not overtly, anyway.
Yeah, no, there was never like, well, when he's talking to the principal, I think that's what set him off. Because, like, he was saying that...
because the principal, he only went to the principal's office to steal his keys. He did it on purpose because he was already planning this shit, right?
But he says something to the principal about, like, you told me that I was going to be worthless or something. And I think he saw this as, because he obviously wanted some kind of fame from this, right? I mean, that's why he went to the one person that had the most views in their live stream to have him be his personal cameraman for the rest of the time.
That's true. I agree.
Like, he was obviously wanting recognition. He wanted to be famous for what he's doing. And I think that's part of the movie is, like, pointing out that a lot of these people do this. You hear about, like, in Australia, the guy was live streaming when he went into a mosque or something and shot it up. So I think that was kind of the movie touching on those kind of situations and those kind of people that are finding fame and doing these horrific things.
Yeah, I mean, I think there is something to be said for that. I'm not. I mean, he wasn't. He was very cynical. He clearly didn't give a crap about his people that were helping him. Oh, there was the girl that was helping him too, and she was the tech god. She was the black guy on Die Hard, right? She's going around and cutting phone cables, and
Yeah.
she knows what the hell's going on. And she's not really with them for most of the movie, so it's easy to forget about her.
Yeah.
You may, I forgot about her entirely. So you may be right that some of her henchmen were not completely there. And I don't know that that's that big a deal. The girl
Well,
herself, Zoe, was great.
yeah. Well, like I think Tristan's character, was somewhat interesting, and what I don't know if I've said uninteresting, but like I felt like they were like very shallow characters. Like they were like just placement characters. There's nothing like we see that the dude has issues, but they never dive into that. There's the one point where he tries kissing Christian or Tristan, and he's like, back
Oh
off.
yeah, there was like some sort of weird gay thing going on there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like they never touch on that again at all. There, he's like shooting at the police and stuff, and he's like, they're coming for me, and then he calls everyone it. But they never really ever talk about any of that stuff. And same with the other guy. He does have his scene there where he's like, they pulled my pants down and my underwear came down too. But like that's it. Like there's no more to that character other than that. And I think that was a good scene. I liked how she just like grabs him by the face and he's like grow up. You can't be like this. That's not that big of a deal. And now, to be fair, I think this is another thing where they're touching on with high schoolers is she says something to her friend at I think when they first got to school. She's like, nothing else matters outside of this. She's being sarcastic when she says it. Something whatever it was that she said along those lines. But that's what I think a lot of high schoolers don't realize that. I mean, like once I got out of high school. Like when I was in high school, I was a loner for the most part. I had a couple of friends and that was it. But it's like once I got out of high school and like it was done, it's like, oh, there's a world out here.
Yeah.
I started hanging out with more people in different, areas, different school districts and stuff like that. And like, you start driving, so that opens up your world and stuff like that. So I think, that was kind of something they were touching on with this movie as well, is that these, like this kid had his pants pulled down and everyone saw his dork hanging out.
And that was in sixth grade.
Yeah. But like, that was like his whole world. Like everyone in the world knew what happened. Everyone has seen his day. Because he doesn't realize that there's so much more world out there. There's, once you're done with high school, you're done. You don't have to, 90% of the people that I went to high school with, I've never seen ever again. And I think that's for a lot of people.
I haven't been to any reunions or anything, and I graduated back in '88, so probably before you were born. For those of you new, and I'm seeing some stuff in the chat. This is Sean Byrd. Welcome, Sean. Right there. Hi, Sean. And he wrote the Run, Hide, Fight review, and he's been contributing some really good stuff here and there. And so we're happy to have you a part of LMO. And you guys be nice to him, all right? So I agree. I think that you get Ebob says the new graphics are giving him a seizure. Well, that was the plan.
Going for the long con.
But I there's like she mentions earlier, it's like this is high school. Nothing that happens here really makes a difference in your life. And then, of course, that got turned on its head. These kids will be traumatized for a long time.
Yeah.
I would say that the tone may have some issues, but I mean it's a movie about a moment in time. But certainly are you going to be an action die-hard movie, or are you going to be a gritty movie about school shootings? And it can't decide one way or the other. It can't commit to one or the other. And I think that is a little bit of a problem. I don't want to take away from the enjoyment of the movie or that it wasn't good. And I'm not sure how you address this. If you want to make her win and all that kind of stuff, I mean, you could have made it more fun and less horrific, and it probably would have been a lot more interesting that way. Or you could have made it much more horrific, and she probably wouldn't have won. And I mean, you could go, so it's kind of in between those two tones, and that's the part I'm kind of like, which one are you here? I don't think it's a huge detriment to my enjoyment of the movie. But I will say it probably keeps it from being better than what it was.
Probably. I think generally speaking, yeah. I think it went down. It walked that line by design.
Yeah.
I mean, like you said, like Rotten Tomatoes, the things people are saying about it. Could you imagine if it would have been more of a fun action movie and not be more serious about the?
That's a fair point.
Yeah.
Do you think it was a bad taste?
Care. No, not at all.
I
think they did a lot. I think they really tried hard to make sure that they did justice to school shootings, that kind of stuff. And I think, like at the same time, that they had to make something entertaining, like this isn't a documentary,
No, I agree. I'm not, it's easy to play Monday morning quarterback on these kinds of things, right?
Sure. Yeah.
I do think there's some things that I like, some little pokes at the school teachers being kind of a little bit mindless bureaucrats insofar as, well, they said to lock down, so we'll just stay here. And it takes one of the students to say, no, get the hell out of the school. You can escape. Why are you sitting here? They're going to come and get you, which is exactly what happened. And I didn't find that to be, it seems pretty logical to me. If you can get out of the school, get the hell out of the school. I don't understand. And it's like, well, it was voted on by the school board in a committee or something like that. This is how we do it now. It's like, okay, well, the guy left a backpack there. Now you're all charbroiled. So good job. I kind of like those kind of moments where, and again, it wasn't banging you over the head with it, but it was kind of like saying, most of these people, these bureaucrats, when they vote on stuff by committee, they really don't know what the hell they're doing.
I don't know if you noticed, but there's a scene to go back to the media. There's a scene where they show the close up of the 4 TVs that they're watching.
Yeah.
And one of them said it was in CNN logo, but it said FNN. And like when I saw that, I laughed because I was like, "This has to mean fake news network." Like that's what it has to stand for. Like it doesn't say it or anything, but just seeing the FNN, like that's the first thing that popped into my mind, and I just laughed at it. But yeah, like again, very subtle stuff. And like the movie in general is not at all political.
No, not really. Not really. It makes a tiny little comment here. A wry observation there, and the rest of it is just about her just trying to survive.
Yeah, I mean, and I feel like I'm old, so I'm out of touch with high school students. But like when like the one dude says,
Mr.
Like,
not one gray hair in his beard, whatever.
I have plenty of them, trust me. I think it was her best friend. I can't think of his name. I don't want to say the black kid.
That's fine, the black kid.
He says something like...
He looks like Raj on What's Happening, but that's fine.
He says something like to the car that's like driving by him, he's like, "Stay woke" or something. And I'm like, is that something like kids really say? Or the prom things. Like, I watched this, like... My girlfriend's like, no, this is what they do. This is what high schoolers do now. And I'm like, really? Like, this is really ridiculous.
Oh, like
stuff.
These big productions where they come in dressed like Shakespeare and all that BS. Yeah.
I was like, this is what they do now? Like, what? It's like a whole nother country.
Well, maybe when those things happen, what happens? People start filming it and taking pictures and putting it on Facebook, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, how many times have you heard about somebody doing inviting a star to prom and trying to get them to, notice them, and once in a while they do, and then of course their followers and Facebook stuff going up. So I would say that there's probably that if that's what's happening, that's social media has probably had a hand in that kind of thing.
Yeah, you're probably right. I mean, social media is all about attention.
Yeah. And so you got to do these weirder and weirder things to get the attention.
Yeah, more elaborate, more big.
Trying to go viral, And not all the kids are doing that, but enough of them are. And it
just seems like something you would have saw in 10 Things I Hate About You. Like, they did ridiculous things in that. It's like, all right, you guys you're like obviously a giant rich school with a bunch of rich kids. Like, this seems like a normal high school. Like, but it felt cartoony to me. Like, this isn't like that's not like something that I was like, I don't like it. It was fine. It was just like, am I that out of touch with what's going on in high schools that this is a thing?
No, the children are wrong. Yes, you are. We both are. Promposals. Yes, thank you, Cora. That's exactly what's going on. So I don't know. I thought the movie was good. Part of how I do this is I watch it with my wife, who is uber normie. Her thing is Hallmark Channel and more Hallmark Channel. Okay, she's
part of the problem.
She yeah. Well,
it's because of her that all those Christmas movies are made.
Yeah, it's awful. But she likes her thing, and she's not that involved with the politics. So I watched it with her, and she liked it. She liked it a lot, and she was drawn, and she was watching it, and she was with the whole thing. And I figure, okay, it's kind of nice because they, if a normie like her is liking it, then maybe this isn't such a bad movie. And while I do question her taste sometimes, I am interested in seeing her taste because it's kind of like my normal barometer, because I'm an old cranky asshole who is way too much into politics and can't, being woke now, it's kind of like you can't unsee, even though you don't agree with it. Now you can't unsee shit without thinking of these stupid things. I know Ben Shapiro made it. I know how people are going to feel about it. And so now I have to watch it. It's kind of like Schrodinger's movie. Now I know what's in the box. So I can't not see these things without thinking of these things. It's like somebody says, don't think of the color red, right? So it really harms my ability to enjoy a movie properly and just be into it like I used to be, when I was growing up, when I'd watch Aliens or Clash of the Titans or some of these other things. And now I have to watch it through this stupid lens that I really hate, that I can't get rid of. I can't remove it. And so it's harder for me to properly judge these movies because, like I said, I now have a knee-jerk one way or the other sometimes, especially if it's a politically charged movie in either direction. Is it good? Yeah. Is it bad? Even if I disagree with it, does that make it a bad movie?
Yeah.
I guess at least I'm aware of that much.
Yeah, I mean, like, there's a movie called something Sparrow Creek. It's a longer title. I can't remember. It's like shooting at Sparrow Creek or something like that. Anyways,
Standoff at Sparrow Creek.
Yeah, that's it. It's a really good movie, but the whole time I couldn't help but now I'm pro Second Amendment, but I own a gun and it's an old single shot that my mom gave me. I've shot a gun once.
My mom gave it to me.
Yeah, like I'm not
like Tackleberry on the police.
I'm not a gun enthusiast or anything like that, you know. So like I'm watching this movie and it's about like a small group that they consider themselves a militia, which right there is a red flag, you know. But like, are militias good? Are they bad? You know, like you know, they try to frame like, or in general, I'm saying people try to frame militias as bad people. Um, so, but like I'm watching this movie and I'm like, this is really good. But like, yeah, in the back of my head, I kept wondering, like, were these bad people? Because they're talking about like the whole movie takes place in this warehouse that these guys do their little gun club at.
Sure.
And they're like listening to the radio and stuff like that. And there's a shooting that happened with, I believe, one of their members or something. Um, and they're talking about like modded AR-15s, and they're saying how they have modded AR-15s to make them shoot automatically and stuff. And I'm like, I couldn't help but like, are they trying to make it sound like these militia people are bad doing this kind of stuff? But like, by the end of the movie, I'm like, I don't care. Like, this is a good movie. I really like this movie a lot. You know, like, but yeah, like to what you're saying, you know, like it's just there, like this like is this being political? Is this doing that? Is this, you know, like it's really hard to
I can't enjoy anything.
You know, yeah, it's hard to shut that stuff out. You know, I mean, now like other movies, you know, there's you can watch them and there's nothing political about them or anything like that, and that's perfectly fine. But like, yeah, when you get into certain subjects, oh, you know that a movie deals with, it's so hard to not think about the politics. Whether, you know, like look, Run Hide Fight is not political, you know. I mean, but like you can't help but thinking about it because that's what people are talking about when you know, like, you know, having discussions about this, you know, like
Sure.
guns, you know, oh, guns are so bad. It's like, just shut the fuck up, like, you know, like.
Well, it is topical. I mean, it is school shootings. We're not talking about like Star Wars movie, right? I mean, it is.
Sure, yeah.
It is school shootings, so there certainly is a modicum of real life stuff going on there. I would say that, to your point, what we're trying to do and trying to be objective and not just go down a one road versus a different road, the current crop of critics on Rotten Tomatoes have given up on. There is no objectivity with them. They saw Ben Shapiro did it. This movie is crap, and they're looking for reasons to hate it. And then, you know, switch that around when they extol the virtues of something like Cuties, which is really awful. I just wonder what planet these people are on at this point, where they're just so stuck in some, I don't know what you even call it. There can't, I mean, what do you find positive about that movie, and why do you find a girl, you say you love strong female characters, a girl stopping school shooters from doing much worse than what they did, and saving people? Why do you find that bad and in poor taste, but you find 10-year-olds twerking to grown men a good thing? I don't know what world I live in anymore where that's considered mainstream journalism.
Well, that's the problem, right? Is it's mainstream journalism now. Like, to talk about movies, like, it's not how it should be. Like, movies are supposed to be, you know, like something that we all dabble into or whatever, you know, and some of us take it more seriously than others. This crap. An escape, sure, you know, I'm like, yeah, and it's like, you know, whatever website or magazine or whatever that deals with movies writes reviews about them, sure. This shouldn't be something that's on the news or anything like that. You know, none of this. Like, even Cuties, like, I haven't seen it. I've heard about it. It sounds pretty distasteful. The creator said, you know, like, well, it's supposed to be that way. You're supposed to feel uncomfortable, and fair enough. I understand where you might be coming from with that. Like, this Run, Hide, Fight does the same thing. Like, you're supposed to feel uncomfortable about watching teenagers getting shot in cold blood. Now, how you go about it is a totally different story, and it sounds like Cuties did not do a good job of going about it, right?
Well,
Uh,
I mean, with cuties, it's like I liken it to saying this movie is about it's bad to shoot puppies. And we're going to actually shoot puppies on screen to show how bad it is to shoot puppies. Like, you
yeah.
don't actually have to shoot the puppies.
Right. Yes.
Okay?
Yeah.
Nobody
yeah.
actually got shot in this movie in Run, Hide, Fight, okay? They didn't actually do a school shooting. This wasn't a real school. But in
Yeah.
Cuties, those are actual 10-year-olds twerking.
Yeah, that's like where my biggest problem about that movie lies. You know, like it's like sure, you know, like okay, you want to do this stuff as in like make it feel uncomfortable to see and stuff like that. It's like then you get yourself like 17-year-old girls that look 14 or something like that to do it or something. You know, don't use actual children. Like that's it.
That's
you know,
ridiculous. Yeah. I was hoping it was about those little oranges, but no. I was very upset about that. So overall, you give Run, Hide, Fight a. Would you recommend it?
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Yeah, I would too. I would say give it a shot. I think there is okay. So this is one of those things where I go, you should support it because it's someone else besides awful Hollywood making it. But I hesitate to say that just on the basis of that because I don't want to recommend terrible stuff. For instance, I've never really recommended anything the Kirk Cameron has done, those faith-based movies, because they're terrible.
I was just thinking of the movie Fireproof.
Fireproof, yeah. This is terrible. Now, I'm not saying that the message wasn't good or that what they're trying to put together wasn't good, but the movie wasn't good.
Yeah.
It's bad. And most of those faith-based movies, I get that they have an audience and I get that the churchgoers and all that want to see it. And God bless them, you know, watch whatever you want. If it makes you happy, that's fine. But I can't recommend it in good conscience. Even though I think it's good that somebody else is doing something that maybe has a different message, it doesn't mean it's enjoyable. There was a one that came out many, many years ago. It was a comedy, and it even had Kelsey Grammer and those kind of people in it. And it was kind of making fun of Michael Moore. Oh, it's been a long time ago, and I can't remember what it was called, but it was kind of a comedy farce or whatever. But it was supposed to be more from a conservative angle to show that America isn't so bad. And Kelsey Grammer and various other actors, I think Ron Silver may have been in it, to show that America isn't bad. And the guy playing the Michael Moore character, you know, it was an American Carol. That's what it was, because it was based kind of like on Ebenezer Scrooge kind of thing. Okay. Right. But it was showing, you know, the ghosts of America's past, present, and future and that kind of thing. And it's supposed to be funny and it has a lot of dumb jokes in it, I think. It was, and again, I appreciate the message, but the movie wasn't funny and it was terrible. It was awful. Yeah. And that's the problem. Conservatives can't make good movies in general. They fail at it badly. Ben Shapiro's very good at going out and owning the libs or whatever, you know, all those things. But that doesn't really get into people's. I mean, that's just that's either cheerleader stuff for people like me, or something to get the other side angry. But it really doesn't. It doesn't do very much to contribute to the culture.
Yeah.
So when I see something like Run, Hide, Fight, which I think is a quality movie.
Yeah.
And it is made by somebody who has a different view on the culture. It's nice to be able to recommend it in good conscience where I'm not going, you know, oh, you need to see this because it's important that conservatives get it. Yeah, it's like, no, I don't think it's that important. You need to do a better job.
Yeah.
And the stuff you've been putting out, the religious movies or things like that, American Carol, if you can't do a better job than that, then I can't recommend it because you're never going to get any of the culture that way. It's like your mom. It's like your mom trying to rap. It's terrible, you know. So, This one I would definitely recommend, and it has the nice side benefit of, and it supports people that I like making movies and maybe doing something good for the culture.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, to be fair, too, like, the movie was made long before Ben Shapiro or Daily Wire came around to having anything to do with it.
Oh, really? I thought they
Yeah.
were the producers.
But they bought the rights to it.
Oh, okay. So it was made well before that.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I don't know when it was made, but like, yeah, it's like I said before, like, well, before we started, it was at some film festival, and I believe it's there that they bought it. Like, um, I don't know if this happens at all film festivals. I assume it does, but like, they'll play movies, and then people can bid on buying it or not. And as far as I know,
That's
this
how
movie,
Clerks worked. That's how Clerks
yeah,
got out.
yeah, but like, so like, apparently nobody wanted this movie. And so Jeremy Boring, which is Ben Shapiro's business partner,
Hmm.
I believe it was him that was like, we should pick this up, like, because they've been saying for a while now that they wanted to get more into the entertainment sphere of things with with culture and stuff like that. And
Well,
so I think it was him that was like, yeah, we should pick this up.
that's a good idea, and I think that's the way. Because I don't think conservatives going out and trying to be artists works. I don't think we know how to do it worth a shit.
Probably.
I mean, some of them do. Don't get me wrong,
Yeah.
but
Well, the guy that produced it, Dallas something, I can't remember his name. Like, he's conservative.
Dallas
Like,
Buyers Club.
yeah, it's funny because he's from Texas, so it makes me wonder if that's why they named him Dallas. But yeah, but like, he said that, he's a conservative, so
Yeah, they are more in Hollywood than we think, but the ones that have
yeah.
the power are, first of all,
Oh,
batshit insane, and second of all, they have the power.
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I looked at these reviews on Tomato Meter, and most of them were, let's see, September 11th, September 11th, September 11th, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and one on September 15th, my birthday. And those were all bad except for one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 out of 7 were rotten. And since then, just recently in January, there's been 3 others, and 2 of them have been fresh, or at least better, and one of them was rotten. So we're only talking 10 reviews. We got 3 that are good, so that's a 30% on Rotten Tomatoes and a 92% audience score. So I'm not, to be fair, I'm not sure if that's a good enough reviewer count.
Yeah, and then, I mean, like, the tomato thing is, anybody can, at least for the user score, anybody can, as far as I know, like, you just have to sign in and you can put whatever score you want to for the user review.
Which is why I find the audience review, because there's a larger
Yeah.
I mean, the Cuties reviews audience score is like 10% or something like that, And I figure, when you get that many people that come in and will review it one way or the other, you're probably getting a more accurate score than what the critics have gotten.
Yeah.
But I do feel like the critics have gotten so out of touch, they don't know what the hell is good or bad anymore, and they're stuck with their journalist friends, and they've all lost their minds.
Yeah, I think it's 2 parts. One part is that they're out of touch, but on the other, it's like, how many of them are getting paid to write bad reviews? These, like,
I don't think they have to get paid to bad reviews.
well, I mean, they're probably obviously getting paid to review things. That's their job, I assume. Assuming that their job is to review things.
Yeah.
But like you get a website that's like, like, you look at like Deadline, or Variety. They're obviously liberal. Like, so would they have the person reviewing Run, Hide, Fight? Would they be like, look, we'll push you a little extra your way if you write the review as being a bad movie? Like, I wonder how often that happens.
I don't think that happens. I don't think they have to. I don't think they need to push any extra money.
Probably not.
I doubt that any of these. I think these reviewers are just part of this weird groupthink cult, and they
Yeah.
That's how they view these things through that lens. I think that's what's worse about it. If they were crooked, it'd make it easier.
Probably. Yeah, you're probably right.
But they actually believe this bullshit. So I don't
Yeah.
that's the problem. So let me go through some of the chats because we've gone on for an hour and a half. And by the way, Sean, I really appreciate you being on here. It's great.
It's been a lot of fun.
I always like to get more people on these things. Dan Cthulhu. I finally, my friend Philoido was correcting me on my Cthulhu, my dark devil pronunciations. But he asked, "Who's the Byrd?" Meaning you. So Sean, this is Sean. Welcome. And he says, and I don't mean DY's wife. Body bags or creep show? I don't know. He mentions
Creep Show. That was the name of the movie that I was thinking of that Leslie Nielsen was in.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's right. He was in Creep Show, wasn't he?
Yeah, with Ted Danson.
That's right. I forgot about that. They buried him up to his neck, didn't they?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. He mentions that Liam Neeson was in Phantom Menace, so he definitely knows comedy.
That's fair.
Watchmen is criminally underrated, and Paul Hilberger also agrees that the Watchmen movie is good. I disagree with all of you. I think the Watchmen movie seems to follow the comic almost religiously, but there is a tonal problem with it that I have. The Watchmen comic, the whole idea, I think, with Alan Moore's portrayal of the heroes in the Watchmen comic was to make them look a little pathetic. And
you mean the superheroes look pathetic?
The superheroes look pathetic in a lot of ways. And unfortunately, Mr. Snyder tends to make them look awesome. Especially when they're rescuing from the jail and they're coming out. And even when they shouldn't be looking, they're always looking awesome, and everybody looks awesome. And I'm like, it's really missing the point, in my opinion, of the comic. The grittiness and the dirtiness of the comic is not there correctly, in my opinion. It appears to be sometimes, but it's just not where it needs to be. It follows the story really well. It's enjoyable. It's not terrible because it's slavishly following the story, and the story is very good. But style-wise, I just feel like he's way off the mark. I think that should have been much grittier and they should have made those heroes look much worse than they did.
Well, to be fair, I've never read the comic. So I'm going on it just completely off the movie itself.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think the comic has its own way of showing things, and I think you ought to give it a shot and then rewatch the movie, and you tell me if you really think it hit or missed the mark.
I will say this. I know how the comic ends, and I like the ending to the movie better. At least from what I'm told about the ending of the comic.
Yeah, that's the one thing I will kind of agree on. I think it makes more sense to make Dr. Manhattan the bad guy rather than some aliens. I think that makes more sense in the context. That's the only thing I can say that it probably improved. But other than that, I don't know. Okay. Ebob says all these new graphics that I've put out here is giving him a mild seizure. Excellent.
By now, he's already swallowed his tongue.
Yeah. No, he's still typing, so too bad.
You don't need your tongue to type.
That's apparently, yeah.
He's typing 911.
Kurt says there shouldn't be any movies about school shootings. None. You are depraved and going in the wrong direction. Paul Hilberger.
I don't know if that was serious or not. But
I'm pretty sure it wasn't. Paul Hilberger says his name is Mr. Tibbs. I am trying to remember what that was from.
That's Black Teacher, Sidney Portier. I think I'm saying his name wrong.
Okay.
Portier. I know. I've seen the movie.
I've seen the movie. My credentials are intact. Let's see here. Kurt says he misspoke. They make movies about child rape. They make movies about child sexual dancing. Gone Girl better than Gone Baby Gone. Okay. Joe Biden loved cuties. Yeah.
Probably.
Uh,
I mean, of course he loved cuties. Look at the way he smelled everyone's hair.
yeah,
Jesus.
yeah, he loves those cuties. Chris Pratt is a conservative. His movies are rated 1 ppmm. Look, I know Chris Pratt is mostly a conservative and a decent guy, but I mean that kind of came out after he was popular, right? I mean, he kind of kept it hidden, and he worked just regular shows. I mean, he just worked his job. So he doesn't really make movies.
I mean, Bruce Willis is a known Republican.
Yeah.
And he's a big star.
Yeah. Oh,
I mean,
a lot of these Republicans have gone full lefty now that once Trump got in, I'm yeah.
Oh, you mean like Lincoln Project lefty?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, to be fair, like Bruce Willis, became popular, I would say, off of Die Hard in '88. So like you got like the '80s and '90s where I feel like that was probably the best time for politics. People were cool. Like, yeah, people had their problems and disagreements and stuff, but I mean, it's nothing like it is today. Like, I think it's harder for Chris Pratt. I mean, if he is a conservative, I don't know if he's ever said he is, but like, I feel like it's harder. It would be harder for him to call himself a conservative in Hollywood today than it would have been for Bruce Willis back in like the '80s and '90s.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Kurt wants to know, what is the best Sordid Sandals movie ever made? It has to be modern.
Best what?
Sword and Sandals movie.
I don't know what that means.
Like Gladiator.
You're talking about like Sinbad?
Yeah, like Gladiator or Clash of the Titans, or anything with Greeks running around in togas with swords.
Spartacus.
Spartacus. Okay. It was a question directed at you, so I'm giving it to you.
Oh, okay. I mean, well, it has to be modern. How modern? Like, I mean, Gladiator is a great movie.
Yeah, Gladiator would probably be. That's 20 years old. Jesus Christ, 21.
Really?
Gladiator can drink now.
Oh.
Hollywood
movie with killing kids in it.
Hollywood is filled with hypocritical douchebags. All their political movies are garbage. They enjoy gay orgies, doing cocaine. Well, who doesn't? And preaching to everyone else about their drug brain-fried views.
I mean, leftism has become a religion.
Yeah, it has.
I mean, and to be, like, you look back at like the '70s, like it seemed like every religious person that was like, gays are bad and evil, and then you found out like that same person was in some dive men's room rest stop somewhere off of a highway somewhere with like 30 dudes jerking them off or something. Like, it's always hypocritical. Like,
say hi for the cameras. Oh no.
Exactly. I mean, so like, I don't know. Like, it's all hypocritical bullshit. Like, I don't know. It's annoying. It's frustrating.
Let's see. Star-Lord has 100% positive rating and has banked $18 million. Well, good for him. Yeah, school shootings are good. The Avengers are bad. No, I'm not saying. I'm not saying school shootings are good. Okay.
See, that's how people like to twist things around.
I know. It's like it's not a binary. All right. I can like the Avengers and I can like this movie for what it's trying to be, and I don't see the problem here. I think it was a well put together movie. I'm not saying it's a perfect movie. It didn't have some problems, but I understood the character's motivations. I like her arc. I didn't understand. I was fine with it. I don't know. I guess I'm a asshole.
I mean, it's all it is it's just art imitating life. Like, there are school shootings. there's nothing wrong with making a movie that has that as the backdrop. Like.
Well, I would say if it was making a movie, it's saying, look how awesome school shootings can be.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah. But that was not this movie.
No, yeah,
clearly not this movie. The bad guy got his.
Yeah.
And it was very clear who was the bad guy. They were not glorifying. That's where I don't get. It's like, oh, it's glorifying school shootings. It's like, is it? How?
Yeah.
How? Because it had a school shooting in it? Okay.
Yeah.
It's like saying the Avengers glorified alien invasions. No, I don't think so.
I think glorify has always been thrown around way too easily and way too much about whatever it is that you don't like about a thing.
Yeah. I don't get that. Bad things happen, and we're showing a bad thing, and we're calling it a bad thing, and we're trying to show a story about somebody getting out of this bad thing. Oh, you're glorifying it.
Look,
are they?
Okay, if the movie, if the school shooting portion of the movie was like the last 20 minutes of Commando, then I could understand someone saying that it was glorifying school shootings. If it's just people running around with rocket launchers and throwing axes at people and just mowing them down and that was it, like, then sure, maybe you have an argument to make, but no.
That would have been cool.
I mean, there was explosion, so